and Andrew Lazar, the producer, were, and the studio as well, willing to take such a risk on two actors that didn't have the credentials at the time. And it was a good decision, clearly.
You know, I'm sure you've probably been asked this question so many times about 10 things, but do you have a favorite behind the scenes moment that, you know, now that, you know, we're so many years removed from that, you just think back fondly?
The time that we got to spend together, you know, in Tacoma, Washington was really cool with this particular group of actors. But the memory that always comes to mind, I probably told the story before, and it's not even really a story. It was just that we would, he had this Saab, like a car, and we would drive up to, I think it was called some 5 mile drive, you know, up through the mountains above Tacoma. And we would listen to Portishead and all. We had CDs back then. We'd be, you know, changing CDs, and he'd be sort of the DJ, and we would smoke weed. Okay, being honest here, it's legal now. It wasn't so much then. It was really illegal, you know, at the time. And just obviously at that point, listening to great music, hanging out with a great couple guys, him and Trevor. Those kind of memories that they're almost like in a movie where you kind of look back and they have like sort of a magical sort of mist around them. Like it was just really a special, you know, special times, just doing nothing in particular, but just hanging out and I guess getting high.
Right. Yeah. Did you guys realize at the time that this was going to be?
That's probably what that magical haze is.
That was that magical haze. Yeah.
Just remembered.
Right.
Go ahead.
Did you guys realize at the time that this was going to be such a special movie that was going to resonate with people for so many years?
You can't obviously know that. It's interesting because of course there are times where people put that on the project as it's beginning, but I think you're just in the moment and you're not really sure. Quite frankly, the other thing too is at the time Heath had never done anything in the States, and Julia had just done a movie that won at Sundance maybe, or at some film festival. So it was Joey Gordon-Levitt and I that had anything. And so there was a question mark too, like, yo, I mean, at that time you're like, where are there like the names, like, you know, you're thinking they're going to put, and they really were, I guess that would be Gil and the writers as well, were very, and Andrew Lazar, the producer, and the studio as well, willing to take such a risk on two actors that didn't have the credentials at the time. And it was a good decision, clearly. So, but I would say for me at that time, I wouldn't have thought that. And you know what I mean? I was just like, well, you know, who knows? But you would never know that 4 years later, people are just still crazy about it. And a new generation too. There's a lot of young people that are like, oh, I watched the movie, you know.